Has Hicken adopted my kickback?
The feet up? No, this is an exclusive Jeff move.
That's good. That should be good.
Hello, Guggen.
By the way, I'm wearing my one of the T-shirts I got on the cruise, and I bring that up because I
Cozumel.
Cozumel, correct.
Yeah.
But I bring it up because I discovered something about myself. I'm 51 years old. I know I don't look it. But for 50 years of beef, when I've been in a group setting or somewhere and the topics of cruises and what they do, I just completely tune out.
Yeah.
I never paid a lick of attention
Now you're
to
engaged.
what boat they're on or where they went, could care less, never took a cruise, never thought I'd take a cruise. And now suddenly I find I've now become an annoying cruise guy.
Yeah.
And whenever anyone brings up a cruise, I have to tell them what cruise I went on and what boat it was and where we went and how much fun we had. And so I'm kind of
life, man.
I'm kind of stuck in the middle. I enjoyed the cruise immensely, a lot more than I thought I would. I figure I'll probably take more cruises, but I may have to do something to curb my cruise talk enthusiasm because, again, for a lot of years, I found that person to annoy me.
I don't blame you, though, man. I had cruise fever when I got back, too. I was excited.
Have you done more than one?
I've done two. I've done a Caribbean one like that, and then I did an Alaskan
one.
with my wife, and
That's when you got your trophy moose.
I did. I got trophy moose in Alaska.
Yeah.
It was great. I got a high five from Sarah Palin.
Killer. You don't care about animals at all. You just admitted it.
The best part was we went to this place in one of the stops called Tracy's Crab Shack, which is
John is watching.
Which is my wife's name.
Tracy's Crab Shack.
Yes, and I was able to get a button from the place that says, "Tracy gave me crabs."
Sure, she's done.
And I turned it into a refrigerator magnet that's still displayed proudly.
Sure, she's never been proud.
She was thrilled.
All right, well, yesterday at this time, we didn't have an offensive coordinator yet.
Now we do.
Yeah.
It's a big flipping deal.
Now we do. Yeah, John DeFilippo. And listen, look.
I mean, I like it.
There's a reason anyone that you hire is hireable. They're unemployed. They're unemployed because someone wasn't happy with them and they let them go. By the way, a list that would include, I don't know, Tom Coughlin's been fired, Bill Belichick's been fired, Nick Saban has been fired.
People ran Tom Coughlin out of Jacksonville in 2002 with, pitchforks and torches.
Yes.
I mean,
correct. We reached the point. And so I think the one curious thing to me about the coordinator, about who they interviewed, and about the way that the search went, is that for a team whose mentality was going to be as simplistic as the uniforms they unveiled last offseason, right?
Right.
We said at the time, we joked, these look like uniforms that are made for a team that's going to run and play defense.
Simple and classic.
Simple and classic. Well, the simple and classic run and play defense didn't work last year at all. And at least theoretically, when it comes to their football theory, it seems like the offensive coordinators that they interviewed and ultimately hired this year have a proclivity to pass the ball more. Now, that's more curious because the Jags have a missing link in the passing game here, the most important missing link.
Which, like you said this morning, would suggest that there's been at least a mild philosophical shift, and it would suggest that there's some kind of plan in place to execute at the QB position to get somebody who can execute these offenses that we appear to be shifting towards, these play action first type offenses, because that's what you feel like.
I will say this.
DeFilippo. Drew is no longer with us.
Drew,
David.
What happened?
Drew Hicken. Drew's out there grinding. He's a hard-working
real
salesman
world.
now.
Correct.
He's working hard. He's got to wear pants to work now.
Yeah.
Closed-toed shoes.
Not me. Look at me. I'm going to Kona.
T-shirts and toques.
I'm going to grab my skateboard and I'll head right over to Kona. I'm going to thrash. Do you thrash when you have a skateboard?
Just going to try and pull a front side 1080.
Yeah, do you thrash when you have a skateboard? Can I be a thrasher?
You can be a thrasher.
Yeah, a thrasher.
Right. I think that's their magazine, the Skater Mag.
In honor of my former hockey team in Atlanta, the Atlanta Thrashers.
Those two.
Because they were...
Now the Winnipeg Jets.
Their logo was a skateboarder, right? The Atlanta Thrashers?
Sure.
Yeah.
They're big on it.
Or it was a little bird.
Yeah. So, I mean, DeFilippo's here, and now the big question is, who's going to be the quarterback? Who's going to be the trigger?
And in which direction will they go?
Where does he come from?
Will they go in two directions at once? Will they go veteran to stem the tide, yet still draft a guy high? And when I say high, I mean first or second round. If it is Nick Foles, look, if it's one of the other veterans, the Tyrod Taylors, the Teddy Bridgewaters, they're going to really have to astound you to commit to them longer than just this year and see what we got. If it's Foles, I don't think you pick a guy in the first or second round. That doesn't make sense to me.
I feel like, right. If you go to Foles, then you're committing to him for 3 years.
I don't want to use my number 7 overall pick there. I want to use it on on an offensive tackle
Right.
or trade down and
Right.
get a couple of pieces that are missing. I will say this: the Jags are in a unique position, and there are people around the league that are beginning to agree with this. This isn't the kind of 5'11" we had around here in 2013.
No.
Where there was just it's a revolving door of mediocre talent and a quarterback who's growing and, as we learned, is never going to completely grow to where you want him to be, and average players and injured players. This is still a team that is, as close to the 10-6 team that went to the AFC Championship game as they are to the 5-11 team that lost 8 in a row last year. So I don't think because they're 5-11 and lost 8 in a row and really just completely debacled, I still don't think that they're closer to that 5-11 than they are to contending, especially next year. That fourth place schedule matters.
Sure.
The first place schedule mattered. How did they do against New England, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City?
Yeah.
Yeah, those were 3 losses.
Yeah.
So
Well, they beat New England.
that's true. They did beat New England.
They beat New England.
That's right. I
And-
forgot we won the Super Bowl in September.
And they had Pittsburgh, in a position to win the
Yeah.
game before it went, to hell in a handbasket. But right.
But you got to get a quarterback again. But
It all comes down to that.
during the offensive coordinator search, I said, look, if you sent Michelangelo into the Sistine Chapel and asked him to paint without a brush,
Right.
you'd have been out of luck. You wouldn't have a classic. I mean, the quarterback is the brush
Right.
for any creative type to paint a picture, one that scores some points around here, hopefully.
Well, look, John DeFilippo was a guy who got fired in Minnesota, but a lot of people, view that as more, they weren't going to fire Mike Zimmer and things weren't going right. Somebody had to be the guy to go down for that. And it ended up being DeFilippo because he was the new guy on the block. And maybe that's the case, but I feel like I like his philosophy. He's been successful with other quarterbacks. Hopefully, whether it's Foles or a draft pick, he can be successful here and we can get this thing, like you said. The defense is still top shelf. So that's a great starting ingredient for a rapid turnaround.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Now, look, maybe it's our team,
Right.
If you're looking at 5-11 Buffalo, we would be saying,
mean,
you got Josh Allen. Yeah.
Going into last year, and I agreed wholeheartedly with you, you told everybody, you bet the mortgage, bet the over on the 6.5.
Sure.
And we lost a lot of homes because
Right. Yeah, no, fair
and
enough.
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
It seemed like 6. It was 6.5, and this seemed insane.
No, it was higher. It was 8.5
higher?
or
Was it
something.
8.5?
But even 8.5
8.5,
seemed
right.
like it was going to be gettable and doable.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say about where the team stands, it's never a good sign when you're looking for a quarterback. What's the record for views in this thing, by the way? I got to make some sort of competition out of this. Is this
You're approaching it.
I
I
set
think
the
the
rec-
last
I
time
went-
you were on, I
I-
think we peaked at like 24, and that was strong.
And that was the record.
Yeah, I
So
think
it's
that's
pretty clear that Facebook Live kind of
The
hates
people
Dan
love.
Hicken.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if
we
it's.
just lost someone, though. Maybe it was Dan.
I don't know if it's like Dan Hicken fatigue.
I think what happens is, here's what happens. This is what happens. The people don't like when you come in here and you guys kill me.
Yeah,
That's not
we do.
creative.
I will say this, and
See, 21. Boom,
no
boom,
embellishment.
boom.
We get a lot of positive. The last time you were on, a lot of positive feedback.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
people were excited to see Jeff,
You know what? You're welcome.
man of the people.
I'll be here.
Tune in to Beat the Brains.
more
You can see
often.
more of Jeff.
Yeah, Beat the Brains Saturday night, 7:30 on CW17.
It's a hit, man.
Yeah. So
By the way, again,
by the way, just you 19 knowing that's not going to be enough. You
Yeah.
need to tell
Tell your
19 who tell 19.
It's got to
who
be like
tell
that old
19.
detergent commercial.
You're gonna have to read these for me, though. I mean, I
you
can't
tell
read
a
that.
friend. Well, we've had a lot of. We've had one comment repeatedly. A guy clearly does not want Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, I got you. I was
yeah.
more concerned with the ones that say Jeff is the man.
Jeff is the man is a good
Right.
one. Much rather
Listen to JP.
Listen to JP.
That's what I'm looking
those are the ones
for.
you're looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
I
Look,
mean,
you've got your people. These are
every dog likes its belly scratched.
yeah, sure.
Right.
Right behind the ear. Get the legs
That's
shaking.
it. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we continue. The hunt is on now. The staff is set. The hunt is on. We got to find the trigger man and find him a few weapons. And if that's the case, then maybe this thing can turn around. Need some luck with the injury.
Well, we also have this whole Leonard Fournette thing hanging over. And look, I think the threat of, does Leonard Fournette sit down and have a Haiti High ready to go meeting with Doug Marrone?
had a request for more Elvis. So
Yes.
just trying to
Velvet Elvis.
frame up
Don't,
Velvet Elvis a little bit
listen,
more.
if you're going to,
The Velvet Pipes.
no, I mean, the painting is made out of velvet.
This also is true.
Yeah, so it's Velvet Elvis. If you're going to call him, we call him Velvis.
He's
but
beautiful.
I understand.
The high collar.
Yeah, I never
The
understood
majesty.
the whole. And I grew up in the mid South, the deep South. I was in just outside of Nashville when Elvis died. Allegedly on the toilet in Memphis. Was that true, by the way? That story, or is that just
I
a
think it
wild
was true.
Who dies on the toilet? By
You know
the way?
what,
That's
actually-
not a gracious way to go.
Actually, fun fact, during my brief vacation from the drill as a nurse. In my time working at the nursing home, I learned that a shockingly large number of people die on the toilet.
What, straining or something?
A lot of it is...
Apologize, this is going...
This is going to go in depth here for a minute, but a lot of it is you first get up in the morning and things loosen up, the blood starts flowing, and that's usually when people will like throw a blood clot.
Oh.
And then, good night.
But
Good
basically,
news is it's a painless, rapid way
I
to
guess
die.
basically what Beef is saying, you get to be a certain age, just though that depends on.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to worry
It's
about
an
it.
embarrassing situation, finding your dead body.
Yeah. Elvis just kind of deteriorated kind of quickly.
Yeah, he was a bad shit.
When
Drugs were also a big factor.
You have to understand, man, and again, there are certain events that happen in life that predate, believe it or not, social media, internet, Twitter, right?
Sure.
You know, something happens now in Bangladesh.
Right.
We all know it in 5 minutes. We've got video of it. We've got reaction to it. But there was a day when you classified major events by just how quickly you learned of them before the information age. And living in Middle Tennessee, which is obviously the sweet spot for Elvis and his fans, him being from Memphis. I still remember it was in the afternoon. And it felt summery. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that when he died?
It was August.
Yeah. So and I can remember just like while living in a neighborhood community, within 5 minutes,
everyone knew.
Every single person. I mean, little kids knocking on people's door to tell them, "Hey, did you hear?" I mean, it was just a.
And it's crazy. Like during that era,
and you know what? If Elvis ever dies, I may take my own.
People have threatened to throw Velvis away.
Why? Here?
Yeah. And
I think Velvis is a hand-me-down from those ne'er-do-wells at Rock 105, right?
Yeah, I think if we hit Velvis with a black light, we'd find some remnants from Lex and Terry on there.
Do you remember August 16th for Elvis? Thank you. Do you remember when we were across the street in the old Rock 105 facility when we pushed up some of the ceiling tiles and we found those 5 tons of a Columbia Bam Bam?
Well, I shouldn't talk about it because we kept most of that for ourselves.
We sold that.
That's really how we get through the morning.
Unfortunately, Velvis snorted it all. So it's gone.
But, I mean, that era, that's, outside of like, presidential assassinations. Yeah. Like, I can't.
That was the most memorable thing that happened.
I
remember that. I remember the Challenger explosion.
Sure.
That's one. I'll give you a local one because this still predated internet technology even, but when the Jags were awarded a franchise, there was a feeling here in Jacksonville of electricity that, I mean, it was like almost, it reminded when the Jaguars were awarded the franchise, and we just celebrated, the 25th anniversary of that earlier this year. But when they were awarded that franchise, it was almost like a scene out of Independence Day. People just kind of walked out into their yards and stared into space. It was just, it was an amazing...
I remember I was in first grade when the Challenger accident happened. And we watched it, like, in school. They had, like, they show shuttle launches, right? So they would show shuttle launches.
What year was that?
86.
Yeah.
And
I was in college.
I remember it. It's obviously I was 6 years old. So
was that during March Madness by any chance?
It was around.
Because I feel like Indiana lost to like Richmond later that day. Because I again another fun Facebook fact about me that you'll never learn on the radio. While I've said it before, I base all my memories on sports.
Yeah, everything.
Like, I remember when things happened because of the sporting event that was going on, and I could be wrong, but I think the Challenger may have been like March Madness morning.
I think it was a March date. Yeah.
And I want to say, excuse me.
I mean, I can remember like not really. You can't grasp what's happening. I just remember like.
Especially your first time. Do they still do that in school? Do they still turn the TV on for big events? I can remember when I was a kid, our teacher used to put the World Series on for us in the afternoon. Yeah.
I'm
gonna look up
I can remember like the school being like ghostly silent like the rest of the day. Like it was like zero activity. It was like everything shut down after the Challenger.
I blew it. It was not March Madness. It happened January 28th, 1986.
Right around it.
Maybe,
It was.
That's especially for you on Facebook. You just were.
Fun facts.
You got an SPFE.
There you go.
A spectacular Prosser fact error. I'm good for one a day.
Got it. We got it.
That's it. I got a meeting with the bosses.
Got places to go.
I got called to the boss's office.
Things to do.
Yeah.
Go see the boss.
Yeah. Make some stuff happen.
Just reveal it for me. Beef's doing great.
Put Dan back in here tomorrow.
I think he should get a raise.
I am going to say this. 22 we peaked at. This is not going to be
better.
Not going to work.
Tell your friends.
You better tell people if I come up for my sports knowledge. It's a Challenger question, man. Easy on me. Man.
Love you, Googans. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe. We might get canceled after this.